Welcome to Gamechangers, the podcast all about those people innovating and making waves in gaming. So whether that's entrepreneurs, game developers, marketers, or people within brands doing amazing things in gaming, we're going to get to the crux of what's coming in the future, the challenges, and everything you probably aren't going to get on a panel. So welcome to the very first episode of Gamechangers, joined by a very special guest today, that one of our partners at Wildfire, and Paul West, the founder of Fumb Games, a UK-based mobile game development studio, and the great title of biggest blockchain game in the world. Paul, great to have you on. Thanks for joining me for the very first episode. This is fun for both of us, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me here. It's great. It's real. It's cool.
Yeah, legit studio, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. So why don't you tell us about Bitcoin Miner, Fumb Games? What is it, basically?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So Bitcoin Miner is a mobile game you can find on the App Store, Google Play, and it's our biggest game right now. So we're a UK-based game studio, as you said. We make games for our phones. There's about 18, 19 of us in the company. And we've been around since 2015, but really only accelerated in terms of some bigger numbers and exciting achievements in the last kind of couple of years. So happy to share a bit more about that and the things that helped push it. But yeah, we're kind of in a new space with our blockchain game, which is obviously all about Bitcoin. The clue is in the title. And we've had a lot of learnings over the past couple of years because it originally launched in 2017. So it's had super highs and some very dark lows, but that's the founder journey. So
all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So how does the game actually work? Like, what is the gameplay?
Yeah, so the game is you start off on this kind of like abandoned farm, for what to call, and you dig down into the earth. And as you dig down, you collect coins, which then are kind of simulated cryptocurrency coins, and they help you buy more upgrades, which allow you to earn Bitcoin as you go. So it's kind of like a meta layer throughout the game, is that you're earning Bitcoin as you play. You don't have to spend money. There are ads in the game, but they're like optional. So you can just enjoy the game for what it is, or you can actually legit withdraw real Bitcoin from the product as you go along. So it's called an idle game, which means it plays when you're not there, which is quite a fun thing for mobile because most of the time we have 2 minutes when we're on mobile. So you can't, you don't always have 30 minutes like you may have on a console or a PC to play. So it's really suited to the platform that it's on. And yeah, we've had about 3 million downloads of the game, which is, I think we're about 12 million, 13 million as a studio. So it's a growing part of our portfolio.
Awesome. And so when you're actually playing the game, how does the Bitcoin element come in? So can I get in there, start playing, and then I've got 1 Bitcoin, or like how does that work? Obviously not that quick.
I wish I wish we could give that away. So how it works is as you're progressing through the game, you unlock new rows in your mine, and I think every other row you earn some Satoshis, and a Satoshi is 100 millionth of a Bitcoin. So I want to manage expectations here. We're not making people millionaires. I think the maximum you can earn is $10 a month, just for like.
Do you have like high earners? Is there like a leaderboard of like?
We have people who have earned more than that. Yeah. We have people who have hacked us and earned a lot more than that.
Okay.
So please don't do that.
One
if you're
of
listening.
those, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. But we've had. We have people. I mean, I think around 25% of people actually withdraw the Bitcoin. So most people are actually just playing because it's a fun game.
Right.
And we are game designers and game builders at heart. We're not blockchain experts or Bitcoin geniuses. So one of the biggest things we get is, are you actually mining Bitcoin on our device? And we are not. The reason it's called Bitcoin Miner is because it's very good for keywords like search.
Right.
So people searching on the App Store for Bitcoin or Bitcoin mining, we come up. So if we change the name of the game,
amazing,
it really hurts us. So it's one of our biggest challenges actually, is talking about the game's called Bitcoin Miner, but we're not mining Bitcoin on your device. So
how was that getting into app stores with that name? Was it in app stores with that name? Like,
so in 2017, when we put the game live originally, it wasn't the easiest thing to get live because Bitcoin, even now, is a sensitive area in some places.
Yeah.
Back then, it was even more so. So it wasn't too hard to get it onto the platforms with Apple and Google, but then promoting it was a no-go.
Right.
Any advertising on Facebook or Google or any of the major platforms with the word Bitcoin in was kind of, and I think rightly so, because there has been a lot of challenges around Web3 and tokenization of things. They were very precautious of it. So, but if we look to where we are now in 2024, we can use everyone. Like it's come a long way, and it's built a lot of trust over the last 6-7 years.
So it started as a mobile game without Bitcoin.
Correct.
What was it called then, and what was the gameplay then, and why did you then integrate Bitcoin as a like core element?
Yeah, so the original game was actually about zombies. Okay. And zombies you'd dig down into the earth and zombies would come out of the ground and they'd mine brains.
Okay.
And it sounds really grim now, but it's not as dark as it sounds. It was cartoony and quite fun. But so then we pivoted to Bitcoin, because at that time there was one other Bitcoin game on the App Store, and we thought, oh, there's a gap here. Like, try and own a niche was one of the things we tried to do. And then we couldn't promote it. So we're like, okay, we'll just leave it. And we genuinely left it from 2018 to 2021. And it did nothing. I think it might have done under 100 installs, which if you know mobile apps is literally nothing.
Yeah.
And we get 10,000 a day now, for context. So it was a waste of time at that point. Mm-hmm. And then we found a new partner which allowed us to actually integrate Bitcoin rewards. So you could then earn the Bitcoin. So that was the big kind of...
Who's that?
The partner's called Zebedee. Okay. They're based in the UK.
Shout out
ZBD. Really great people. They helped us. They're the experts in the blockchain and Bitcoin side. So it's quite nice for us just to focus on the game. They do all the complicated bits. And we integrated them in about 2 weeks, and it was night and day. Like, yeah.
So is that their product, SDK, that enables like crypto within traditional, well, not traditional, but like games?
Yeah, exactly. So they integrate in games, they integrate in podcasts. They're trying to be like, well, they are like a payments infrastructure. Huh. So they're a financial regulated company.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they specialize in using Bitcoin and Bitcoin Lightning as their payment method. So it's instant, zero fees. Like, it sounds like a plug, but like they have been really good for us.
Yeah, sponsored by.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. One thing I wanted to ask was, okay, where do you start? I mean, where were you before Fumb Games? Why did you start it? And like, how was that process?
Yes. So so when I was young, I wanted to be a football player.
Okay.
And then I wasn't good enough.
Okay. But that's like everyone, right? Like everyone starts at some point, and then like as you get older, like I was like 7 when I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. So I was. I did train with a Bristol City Academy for a while. Okay. So I was okay.
Yeah.
I was never going to make it. But like, this is 10. Like,
Yeah.
So and then I thought, well, the next best thing I love is games. So I'd love to like make games one day. And it wasn't necessarily even video games. It was like, even like board games or something. I used to love all that play. So that's kind of where it originally came from. And then after university, I was working in Comet. Your UK audience might remember.
Yeah.
Comet, the electrical retailer.
That's not around anymore?
No, Comet? Sold for £1.
Seriously?
After I left, yeah.
Really?
I think I did some damage there. But I sold Noel Edmonds a microwave. That was my claim to fame at that point.
Was he in the market for one, or did you like do a?
I upsold him brilliantly.
Nice.
No, he definitely was direct. So from Comet, my girlfriend at the time, now wife, spotted a job ad for a company based in Cirencester that said, make apps for celebrities and entertain them and entertain the celebs and market the apps. It sounds like the coolest job in the world. That company was called Neon Play. And so I interviewed there, I got the job. And the first week of that job, we were Apple's 10 billionth download from the App Store.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was unreal. So I went from
good time.
Nothing to like front page of Silicon Valley.
Huh.
I mean, I was employee number 6, and it just launched the company. And it was like it's been a roller coaster since then of like lots of ups. It's been really fun, this industry.
So even back then, what year was that?
So that's 2011, 2012?
So 2011, 2012. So for like 13, 14 years or so, you have been kind of like rankings driven and like mobile games and like looking at how do you burst into like virality and popularity, right?
Yeah. So I was the marketing hire at Neon Play.
Okay.
We had 8 UK number ones, a couple of US number ones, and it was a lot easier back then, I have to say.
Yeah.
There were
Why?
there were platforms and ways you could do. So one of the big ones was free app a day. So I don't know if you remember this, but
I do actually, yeah.
they would make an app free for a day, and it would shoot to number one, basically.
Yeah.
And they'd promote it, and everyone would download it. So Apple kind of and Google stopped. Well, I think Apple mainly stopped that being
really?
possible.
Like a cease and desist, or
I don't know exactly how, but it definitely kind of lost its impact. I can't remember how now, but there was a few of them that just kind of were turned off overnight.
Yeah, well, I remember the days of incentivized app download.
That's
kind
what
of
it was.
Networks and offer walls, and if you pay enough and you kind of like look at the 10,000 a day, then you will be at a certain rank.
Yes.
If everyone's doing that, it's just not really a healthy ecosystem. So I guess they changed that in
Yeah,
2014, 15. I don't know.
I don't think
Later.
they had full control of the charts,
Mm.
and that was at that point the biggest discovery for apps and games was like you just look at the top charts and see
Yeah.
what's good at the moment. So so that changed. That's how we like got a lot of our number ones. We also had the CEO was very smart, Ollie Christie. He built like a ad system across all of the games they had. So they had quite a big portfolio. So like they could at any moment change the ad to point to another game.
Okay.
So it was their own ad ecosystem
That's
within
smart.
the games.
Yeah.
And I think they had like 50 million downloads or something. So
Right.
it was the first year it was bigger than Angry Birds. It was
Really?
it was a big it was a very nice welcome for me into the industry to learn so much.
Yeah. So do you think it was kind of used to be a lot about growth hacking kind of methods and ways, and like there are actual techniques and tiers that you'd need to kind of hit to be viral, and then now it's a bit different, or is that oversimplifying it a bit?
It's definitely different now. Back then, Neon Play had 50 million downloads without really any paid user acquisition, as we call it now.
Just making
we
good
didn't have a
stuff.
budget for that. It was hacky. It was PR. It was networking. It was these platforms, the free app a days, and those kind of things. And now it's completely not that. Like our day to day now is marketing. So we spend like roughly like $1 million a month now on marketing, which is user acquisition. So, buying through the main platforms to acquire users. So it's totally changed.
Towards paid.
Towards paid from what we've seen.
Yeah.
There's of course like still ways to do it, still ways to go viral, but I don't know them. And I don't think they're as predictable or as manufactured as they could have been before. But yeah, there's always something that's going to cut through.
Yeah.
I like Flappy Bird's a great example of that, which was 10 years ago. I found out this morning.
Really?
It's making a comeback and it's doing the waves again now. So
Amazing.
there's it's definitely possible, but I don't think you can rely to build a business on that unless you have some powerful influencers behind you.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of makes you feel a little bit old when Flappy Birds is like a nostalgia game.
Tell me about it.
So like just moving into what you were kind of just saying there, and obviously there are maybe there are secrets in terms of marketing a game. You're obviously doing it, do you say £1 million or dollars a month, whatever, something similar around that.
Yep.
What are your best performing channels? How are you, I know there's probably two questions in one, how are you kind of making your ads like efficient? Is it a secret of AI creative optimization that people talk about a lot and say, yeah, we're doing that and that's working well and everything needs to be AI? Or is it something else?
Great question. I think the best thing about marketing today is that it's all digital and very measurable. Even with Apple's recent changes to make data tracking a little bit more difficult at user level, we can put an ad live in the next minute and we'll know by the end of the day how effective it is.
Which platform would that go on if you had to be?
We could do it on any of the ones we use. So Meta, Google, AppLovin is a big one for us. There's about, we focus on 5. We found that 5 of our channels make up 90% of our volume. So we just focus on the 5 for now.
Yeah.
TikTok is another. So yeah, that's we get instant feedback on A, whether people like it enough to install the game, and then B, do they like it enough to spend after they've installed, or to watch ads after they've installed. So we have revenue events that we can track. That is like, I'm a data person as well as like a creative marketer, and I just love that. Like instant feedback.
It's so quick. Mobile games generally, and route to monetization, and obviously when it comes to advertising as well and paid media, it's so quick, right? As you're kind of saying.
Exactly. So we just say to our partners, we need to make 100% return on our ad spend by day 60.
Right.
And then we know that if we do that, we'll probably make a small margin after that. But that is a margin that, you know, it could compound as the game gets better and as the product grows. So it's super simple in that sense on the surface layer. Now, of course, you can dig very deep into what actually is underneath that, and there's loads of levers you can pull. But on the surface, as like a CMO is basically my position within the company, even though CEO is the title. Like I'm heavily on the marketing side. It's a godsend to be able to be hit your targets, or we have to change the targets, or we have to change something. And it's very manageable in that sense.
You get that flow of data just so much that you can just tweak in real time. I think it makes so much sense for mobile games, and obviously that's why those ecosystems have kind of built up around it. The likes of AppLovin, it can get just so much more kind of scientific, really.
And they keep getting better in terms of their scale and their optimizations and their algorithms, and we keep trying to figure out how to manipulate the algorithms to get more scale from them. So I mean, my background is Adtech as well. So after Neon Play, I was at AdColony, which was that company created rewarded video. I wasn't the person who did that. I joined much later, but it was a game-changing thing for the industry. So some people listening might be like, "Oh, thanks for creating that," because video ads in games isn't always super loved, but it has empowered a revolution of free games for players, which I think is a good thing. So
that's a whole new debate, isn't it? That's a whole new podcast episode. It's like value exchange and game and ads and free versus. I mean, it's the whole internet, right?
Yeah, completely. Yeah,
spend hours on that.
It's super interesting, and it was amazing to see that business go. It's like just in Europe alone, we did 0 to 100 million in revenue in 2 years.
Really?
And it was such a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Right time, right place.
Good fun?
So much fun. Yeah. Great people. Like still friends with all of them today. And that business got acquired and is now part of something else. But that was, I was very lucky in choosing 2 great companies as I entered this industry.
And so did you start Fumb Games when you were at AdColony?
Yeah, so I was an account manager, so I worked with the biggest game studios in Europe at the time. And my point to my boss was, we don't know how they feel in their day-to-day. We need to have a game studio to see what their challenges are. Little bit of a trick as, please can I just make a studio? My job. Luckily I had a really sound manager, really, really great guy. And he was like, okay, we signed a little letter which just covered us, which was, as long as the studio doesn't generate more than $1 million in the next 12 months, you can just keep doing it, and as long as it doesn't interfere in your day-to-day.
Okay.
It did not make $1 million.
That was obviously a challenge to you at that point.
Yeah, I was
like, okay, that's a benchmark.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was where it started. 2015. And as I said, it didn't really do a lot for a couple of years. I basically split my salary because I was paid quite well at AdColony because I was in quite early. So I was able to split my salary in half and still be on like just above minimum wage, so I could live. And I gave half my salary to my co-founder, so he could work full time making games.
Interesting.
And that might sound a bit like crazy or risky to some people, but that was the safest way I could do it. Yeah. Without quitting my job, which I actually really enjoyed and was getting great connections in to learn how to make games with my co-founder. So, he's still here today, and we've had a lot of fun since we set up.
So how long were you splitting like your salary there? Like, because I think it's always so interesting talking to people at the beginning of this journey when it is nothing, when people, and it's such a cliche, people think you're kind of crazy for doing it and it's like really risky, but it actually is. It's absolutely terrifying. And so I'm interested in how long you kind of did that for, and like what was it like, and in that period.
I remember saying to my girlfriend at the time, let's do it for a year and see what happens. And I remember getting to the year point and not a lot had happened. Like we'd launched a game, I think, but it broke even. It wasn't like game changing. And I think I managed to convince her like 6 more months. And she was so supportive. She never even, she never doubted it. So awesome. that I think I would say like 18 months, I think. Because it came around the time we launched our second game, which then made $30,000. And we're like, okay, that's a big chunk of someone's salary.
That's traction. You go, okay.
Yeah. I think we had like 500,000 downloads. And we're like, okay, we can do this. Like they're just one person full time and very scrappy art asset buying off the Unity asset store or whatever it was.
Right.
We've actually touched 500,000 people and we've made money from some of them.
Yeah.
Like there's potential with this. And then the next game, we with that money, we were like, okay, let's make a hire. So we hired our first developer straight out of university. And he's still with us today. And we wanted to make a specific game we had in mind, but the art assets weren't ready. So we said, oh, here's some art assets. Just go and play around, with another game. We've got this idea of like merging weapons, and you could like each time you merge it, they get better and stronger. But just have some fun with it.
No zombies at this point.
No zombies in this one. This game's called Blacksmith. It's still on the app stores, but it went top 10 in the US, and it was crazy. Insane. It was peak Game of Thrones time. Like I think that helped, like the market sentiment with
medieval meta.
By accident. There's a lot of accidents in this story. Like that happened. But the reason Jonathan is his name. He made the game, and I remember him sending me the first build of it, and I was watching some trash like Hollyoaks at the time, if you remember that. And you
said that on public now.
I have, haven't I? Can you edit that? And I remember nothing against Hollyoaks, but I just kept looking down at my phone and like kept looking at the game, and I was like, oh, hang on a minute, there's something here. And then me and my co-founder Oscar said, why don't we just put this live? Because there's no really barrier to do that on the App Store once you have a developer account. And what a great story for him. He left uni, and within 2 weeks, he's published a game on the App Store. Like, that's so cool for him to tell his friends. And we did it, and I'm so glad we did, because the first, we got like 10,000 installs in no time at all. And it just kept going and going and going, and it went to top 10 in the US.
Awesome.
And it was like, whoa.
That must have been a hell of a hit.
Yeah, so that game generated our first $1 million over its lifetime, which allowed us to scale to like 10 people.
Yeah, it's almost like a funding round, really.
Yeah, and it was like 2 weeks of just like, a junior developer at that time, just playing around with a cool idea. So it was the first merge game on the App Store, basically.
Awesome. So you like created the category, like in a way, really.
Yeah, the category kings now are doing $1 million a day. So they really took it to another level that we didn't. But it was the first idea of that I knew of, at least, that like was kind of combining and merging that went to that scale. We didn't invent that mechanic, but we were the first probably to get it into the popular charts in the US.
Awesome. From 2015 or so, that is, right?
Yep.
Then you were still kind of part-time. You went full-time when? And
yeah.
Did you raise any money, or are you kind of bootstrapped?
Yeah. So Blacksmith came out, I think, around 2018. I think it came out just after Bitcoin Miner version 1, which didn't do anything, if you remember. So then we focused on merge games because we thought there was a gap for merge games for men, and that's when we started to kind of generate some interest around us. So a company from Paris were interested in what we were doing, a company called Voodoo, and they invested in 2021.
They're the Be Real?
Yeah, so they acquired Be Real recently.
Okay,
They biggest games publishing company in the world. I can't remember how many billion downloads they've got. It's crazy. So we were very flattered that we were able to talk to them and work with them. So they acquired a minority stake in us, and then that gave us capital. And then I felt like I could join the company and not take money from it, because I just wanted to grow it, and I didn't want to take anything out of it until it was like in a safe place to give everyone 2.5 years of runway.
Yeah.
for mortgages and stuff. So that's when that became real, and I joined full time, and it was so freeing to do that, and not look back at all.
One of the things I think is really like it's talked about a lot, and you're at the intersection of more than I think like anyone is Web3 gaming and how it's defined, what sides people are on. There are obviously very polarized kind of sides on both sides. There are, you see the axes like that kind of came and went a little bit because that is like play to earn, I guess, as a concept. Is that still something that people want to do? I'm probably putting my own like spin on it.
No, please.
But I'm interested in how you think. Obviously, there's Bitcoin Miner and where that kind of sits, but there's also, where do you think that's going? Do you think all games, some games will have real world assets in some sort of way, or like what are your thoughts and where that's going as a field or
here we go
feature even?
Yeah, no, this is a very topical one, and my views are quite simple actually. I like to be simple on things. This sounds like a cliche, but everything we do is for the player. Like it has to. We are players. We got into games because we love playing games, and it sounds like every studio says this, but I think you can see the ones in Web3 that don't believe this.
Yeah.
Like I have a pretty strong view that we don't need another token in the world, and I'm talking specifically around an in-game currency. It's incredibly difficult to run a game that has an economy without a blockchain making it like untweakable at any point. So not only is it incredibly challenging to do, I also don't necessarily see the huge benefits. Like the way I see it is there's players and there's speculators in Web3. Like we make games for players. Now there's going to be a degree of speculation in some of our players because they're earning Bitcoin, which is a speculative asset and volatile, but all of our audience is not speculation, which is what a lot of Web3 projects that just focus on tokens are. So, Bitcoin Miner will never have a token. Like the token is Bitcoin. It's the most wanted one anyway.
Yeah.
The only reason we would make a token is to benefit the studio and to make us richer. Like that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Which I might be missing things. People can point them out to me, but I don't see any benefit to the player to make it more confusing and to add another degree of complexity in what is already quite a friction-filled space already.
Yeah, hard to get users.
Yes.
Why make it harder is one argument there, I guess.
Exactly.
The other argument potentially is, and this is the classic argument, I've spent 5 years of my life playing this game. I should be able to kind of extract some value from it. What do you think about that?
I think when you mix like money and entertainment, it becomes a weird thing. Like if the example I give is, let's say you're playing an RPG game that you love and you suddenly open a chest and woohoo, you've got the best sword in the game. That is a great moment that you should, okay, I've earned that, I've got that, I've acquired that, whatever, I'm going to go and use it and enjoy. If there's suddenly the question of, but it's worth $500, it changes things.
Yeah.
Psychologically, it's like, okay, well, I'm stupid if I don't sell that.
Yeah.
Like, or should I try and make it? Then it becomes about, then it's all about finance.
Yeah.
And that's not entertainment entirely anymore. Maybe some fun and finance.
I agree with you. I have to say, I agree with you. I think you also get speculators playing and professional forces behind a game that might be depending on what it is, you might have a team of people playing on one device to make it worth it and stuff like that. It's like, is that really where we want to go? It
changes the developer's focus massively. Fortunately we've got a good partner I mentioned earlier who helps us with a lot of this stuff, but like we have been hacked to pieces and we don't even have that much money that we give out, right? In terms of the rewards, we don't have a token that suddenly will shoot to $1 million per coin or whatever, or an NFT that will spike. So then it's like a security company almost, and then like it loses focus on the fun. So that I'm quite strong on this. You can probably tell, but it doesn't serve the player. Like if the player wants to make money and it's all they care about making money, then I would question if entertainment and that a game is the way to do that, to achieve those goals. I think it really blends separate priorities. So yeah, it's but in terms of if you give away free stuff or if you add financial elements like upsides to your game, you will be hacked. Like I can confirm that from experience, and that's like we had to invest a lot into security for those kind of things, because it's also frustrating when you share revenue with a player, because that's what our model does. It's a revenue share, and you see like bad actors taking like even 10, 20, 30% of it, when actually that should be going to the community that's been playing the game and enjoying it. So yeah,
I think that there's probably a place somewhere that and you know, a development somewhere in the future or near future, or a game that I think will strike that balance. I think I definitely think it's possible, because I mean lots of publishers are trying it.
Yep.
I feel like there's probably going to be a mechanism which is not full what people were, you know, doing with Axie, like play to earn. You know, people are kind of working on a game, but is starting from the game up. I think. I think it's possible, but I think the current and past kind of iterations haven't really hit the mark in that respect.
Nothing's been done yet that has got me excited about like NFTs and tokens in games. I think there will be something that breaks through, as you touched on. I actually think like trading card games are a good fit for this.
Yeah.
And I know there are some that are being produced right now, because you think about the Pokemon craze, cards craze, like that, it makes sense there because there's value there.
Yeah.
But I question whether it can ever be mainstream and mobile, because why would it need it? Why? How does it serve the player? Like, and also how will the platforms allow that to even happen if it takes some power away from them? So it's a really interesting space. I love being in it, but we're Web 2.2 probably.
Yeah.
You know,
that makes sense. And I mean, you kind of touched on community there. Tell me about Discord community, how that's all been going, because that's obviously where we
of course
work together on.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. So so we invested in Discord from the get-go when we could. We saw it was a great way to communicate with players. Players aren't, you know, everyone knows that. So we have around, I think we're approaching like 200,000 fans in our Discord server right now. A lot of it is US focused, because the game is primarily played by the American audience. But it's been a fantastic tool for us to gather feedback on the products. We've had players like localize our game in their language because they want it so bad.
Yeah.
So they do that for us. Really good for quality assurance. So they can tell us the bugs quickly, notice anything that's broken, typos, all those kinds of things. So we have a team that runs that. We do giveaways in it, obviously with you guys, but also internally our own ones as well.
Yeah.
So it's been a really fantastic tool, and a lot of our players are loyal to our game, but really loyal to our Discord server, where they've made friends and, you know, interacted with the mods and stuff.
I mean, we see a lot of Discord servers, like a lot, and it is extremely engaged and kind of well run. Like it is. And so where possible, we always try and kind of partner with you guys where the targeting's right, because it's a super engaged community basically. And I think it's a great kind of case really of an official developer community actually monetizing through Discord as well, because obviously you're monetizing in your game, but the opportunity here is kind of monetize your community as well. So, you know, and you have kind of control over that as you
and our players have loved it. That's why I'm always like, give us more. They love it. But shout out to Wongle, Rin and Belgan and the guys who run that Discord server, because they are like, there's more that I haven't mentioned, but they are literally superb.
They're the bomb. Yeah. Final question. Tomorrow, if you could start your own business, not your own business, if you could start another business tomorrow, unlimited money, unlimited time, what would it be?
Good question. I would lean back into an idea I used to have, which was, and my team will laugh at me for saying this, but we had an idea in 2018 for a game called Air Guitar, which was it would take your wearable, so your Apple Watch or your other wearables are available, even a ring, like an Oura ring or something, and it and a phone, and you'd hold your phone in one hand and you'd strum the like air guitar with your wearable. So
there's nothing like that
there. So
I love it.
There's nothing like that I've seen. We actually built it, and but we didn't give it the full oomph, and it was like pandemic times. And I still think there's something there. Guitar Hero for like 20. I grew up on Guitar Hero.
Me too.
So like
Guitar Hero 3 was my
same.
specialty.
Yeah,
It's the best.
absolutely. We should shred after. I still think there's something there with it. Like it's such a cool playable that we made. So yeah, maybe I'll jump back into that.
Fingers crossed. Like I'm in. I am in. If you make that, I love it.
All right, noted.
Paul, thanks so much, man. It's great to kind of meet you in person and have this chat. So I appreciate you joining me today.
Pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Cheers.